Netflix has a new exclusive anime series. It's called Devilman Crybaby, and it's completely fucked up. After watching the very first episode of Devilman Crybaby, I honestly didn't know what to think. I was just trying to comprehend all of the ridiculous things that I just saw. You know, the first 15 minutes of the episode are relatively normal. It just looks sort of like your run-of-the-mill high school anime series, introducing all of the main characters, their quirks, their personalities, and then the last 10 minutes we're introduced to the concept of devils, weird creatures which have the ability to possess people and can even emerge from their bodies in super violent and disgusting ways to carry about their very own evil whims. And then all of a sudden the main character is suddenly transformed into a demonic superhero and the massive blood orgy can officially begin. It's an insane experience to say the least. I will say though that it is worth seeing, at least for its unique art style, which is unlike anything that I've ever seen. It's super clean and super simple, but there's something about it that really does attract me to it. I can't figure out what it is. That being said, this is just my review of the first episode of the series. I'm not really sure what I'm getting myself into with Devilman Crybaby. In fact, my overall history and knowledge of Devilman is very slim. I do know that it is based on the original Devilman manga series, which was created by Go Nagai, who is definitely one of the most influential people in all of anime. Not only did he effectively create the super robot genre with Mazinger Z, but he's also a creator of another classic series called Cutie Honey, and Devilman was always sort of one of his big hits. It was always over the top, super violent, and always filled with a lot of raw sexual imagery. And that's also reflected in its anime history as well, featuring not only an original show, but tons of OVAs which just completely disgust me in the most ridiculous of ways. Trust me, if you're not ready for gore and violence, don't check this series out. It just goes right for the freaking jugular. So, what is the story of Devilman Crybaby? Well, basically it's a brand new adaptation of the original manga series with some minor differences and a little bit of modern animation touches. But really the story itself, while initially seeming very complex, is real simple. It's basically about these two kids. There's Akira Fudo, who's our main character, and his buddy Ryo. Ryo is this teacher who works abroad and goes on crazy adventures and discovers that in the world there are these creatures which are known as devils, which can possess people and come into the real world and cause all sorts of havoc. So the only way to combat them is to actually harness the power of devils themselves, and through a weird, crazy event, Ryo ends up bringing Akira to this weird, seedy underground club where he's able to unleash his abilities and have him get possessed by a demon named Amon, who allows him to transform into the titular hero known as Devilman. It sounds crazy at first, but honestly, it's very easy to follow. Akira gets possessed by a powerful demon and fights against the evil forces that go up against him. And it's really in that simple premise that allows them to build this series. It's with this simple premise, and this simple premise allows the animators of the show to let the story focus on its visuals and its visuals alone. And the first half of the episode looks very nice, just getting introduced to all of the main characters. There's lots of ridiculous over-the-top fan service, and we're also introduced to the personality quirks of these guys, with Akira Fudo, like the title of the series would suggest, is something of a crybaby. He's very emotional, but also very dedicated to his friends, Ryo especially, who is an absolute insane character. One moment he seems to be just a supportive brother type character, the next he's running around in a white trench coat shooting people randomly because hell, he just feels like it. And then later in the episode he goes around a crazy club with a broken bottle, scratching people and stabbing people through the chests just so that he can get his best friend possessed by a demon. Basically, Ryo's freaking insane. It's just nuts. When you finally accept that, it can kind of become a fun anime series. But really, I think this episode right here, the first one, is going to be defined by those last 5 minutes for just how utterly nuts it all truly is. That and the fact that there's all this other crazy subplot they start to get into about this one killer that seems to go nowhere, probably going to be an adversary for Devilman himself. But like I said, the first half introduces these goofy high school students, and then the second half we go to this scene where Ryo is taking Akira to this underground club, which is filled with all of these people and strippers who are just fucking and doing drugs and doing all types of really crazy shit. And it's done with a lot of really great animation. I mean, all I can say is there's lots of jiggling going on here. And it's definitely the first scene that lets you know that, yeah, this series is definitely not for kids at all. But it's that moment where Ryo just takes a bottle, breaks it, and then just starts stabbing people left and right that I found myself just laughing at the absurdity of this. Like, really, where is this leading? And then all of a sudden, all of these weird people start to contort and transform into monsters, with some of them, their literal bodies being ripped apart in the process. And that's when they just start going to town on all of the people who are going in here, and it is just a giant, violent orchestra of amazingness. I mean, it's really well animated, but it's just so grotesque, everything that's going on. Just describing the actual violence itself is really hard to actually, describe. I mean, people being cut into billions of pieces, a guy who is having sex with a girl and her body suddenly transforms into a giant two-part mouth, which ends up cutting him in half. It's so fucked up. The first chick whose boobs literally, like, transform into giant freaking tendrils and come up out of her body and everything. Like, it's so freaking messed up. And it all leads to the epic moment where Ryo is about to be destroyed by all of these groups of devils, when suddenly Akira is running towards him. He's about to be eaten himself when he's possessed by the power of this demon, and he transforms into Devilman, which basically makes him grow wings and transform into a literal half-man, half-devil. He gains superpowers and super strength and brings all of it to the table, ripping things in half from the mouth, ripping the hearts out of his opponents. It's just insane. But it looks so visually awesome and unlike anything that I've ever seen that I want to see more. I want to know where this story is going to go, especially for how crazy this episode ended right here. So, what's the rundown on this episode right here? This is the Origin of Devilman episode, and what a first episode it really is. I will say that the strongest element of the show has to be the art style. The story itself really isn't nothing to write home about, but there are certain things about the episode that I really love. A lot of the side characters who I feel that are really fantastic. Like, there's this one group of, like, rappers who appear in the episode just randomly for absolutely no reason other than just to give us a really funny Japanese rap, which I just thought was really great. Aside from Akira and Fudo, the other main characters I'm guessing are going to be these high school girls. One of them is named Miki. She's like this big track star, and she's like super awesome. So I'm guessing that she's probably going to end up being an important part of the series, considering they focus on her. And apparently, I think she actually lives with Akira. I'm not really sure. They don't get into it that much. They don't show like much of what their family life is like, aside from some very strange flashbacks at the beginning of the episode when you get to see Akira and Ryo as children. And it basically establishes their personalities, with Akira being sort of the kind and caring and emotional one, and Ryo being the sort of like the brash and sort of bold one. And I can't wait to see more of this relationship as it actually goes on. It seems really interesting, especially the character of Ryo, who does not come across as a hero at all. I mean, when you see the things he did in this episode, just brandishing a gun and stabbing people in the club and doing all of this to get his friend freaking possessed by a demon, is insane when you really do think about it. There's even a flashback with him where you get to see like one of his like former professors got possessed by a devil as well. Very similar to a scene like something out of Evil Dead, where he takes like a big canister of gas and gasoline and just pours it all over his body and then just makes himself explode. And then you get to see like his actual demon form coming out and everything, and it just looks so freaking crazy. Really, that's the thing. This is a visual stunner of an anime series, and it's worth checking out if you're mature enough to enjoy it, and if you just want to see something that looks insane. It kind of gives me the vibe of, like, Super Jail on Adult Swim, just with, like, really good production value. Just a symphony of violence. I'm not sure if it's going to hold up, if it's just going to be this every episode. I might get bored with it. I'm not really a big fan of just seeing over-the-top violence just for the sake of it. I'm hoping that there's going to be a good story and hopefully some good epic fights, because we are effectively looking at a superhero story here. So hopefully this Devilman type character is going to do some Batman-esque things, which will hopefully amplify the show. But who knows? I can't wait to see what it's all about. It's a 10-episode series on Netflix. I'm probably going to try to do one review a day. I was thinking about watching all of it and trying to do a single review of the entire series, but just from watching the first episode alone, I think being able to discuss the crazy things that go on in each individual episode is going to be a lot of fun for me. So, yeah, there it is. First episode right here. As a score, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Visually, it's just awesome, but really so far it hasn't like completely blown me away. But the first episode right here, just on its very own merits as a first episode and as a hook, is really freaking cool to look at. It's insane, it's over the top. Check it out if you're looking for like a super grisly action-packed anime series with a visual style that is very unique. It's Devilman Crybaby. Check it out, guys. If any of you did watch this brand new series, tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Make sure to remember that this is on Netflix. You can go and watch the entire season. Like I said, though, I'm going to try to do like one a day if I can, maybe one every other day. It really depends on my schedule. But yeah, this is just a nutty series right here. So let's just kick back, relax, and enjoy it. Like I said, tell me all your thoughts about it in the comment section below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you're going to continue to watch it, if you're a fan of the original Devilman material at all, tell me all your thoughts there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more anime reviews. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn, baby.